I hope he got stuff out of it.
I think he did. I think he enjoyed it.
I actually hope his wife, because it seems like it was a lot more for his wife, and I hope that she listened to it and got something out of it.
I think she's a big time skeptic.
Mm-hmm.
So he was
but
like, but I mean, it's there, it's recorded. If at any time she wants to.
Yeah, because it was a lot for her, and I realized that.
And you are your own worst critic, because I thought it was great from my perspective sitting here.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and of
we
course,
always judge ourselves
exactly.
harshly.
We're always gonna. I do that when I'm freaking listening back when I'm editing. I'm like, sometimes you'll crack a joke, but I'm so like into the story. Like, I don't even have a delayed reaction to the joke. I just keep going. I was like, oh, that was a perfect opportunity to like say something, but I didn't even hear it. So it's like after the fact, we always catch stuff. So yeah,
I have to say, Phillip is funny. He's a funny guy.
He is funny.
I laughed a few times listening to our podcast with him.
He told me the other day, he's like, I barely listened to it from beginning to the end. And he said, I was cracking up. It was hilarious. And I was like, I was editing it and I've listened to it like, I don't know how many times already. And I'm still laughing.
Yeah. Yeah. He's funny.
Yeah.
He's quick-witted.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I have my melted Mountain Dew ice. Melted ice.
We won't hear that.
No.
Like we did I had to give the sound effect.
Have water that I was going to start with, and I was like, oh, but a soda sounds good right now. I was going to put whiskey in my soda.
Well.
And then I couldn't find the right. I'm
drinking a margarita.
Oh, are you? Oh, I should get the whiskey then.
You should. I didn't want to pressure you. I was going to text you, but I didn't want to pressure you if you didn't feel like drinking. So I didn't want to peer pressure. Broken.
I think, and the Suns are playing tonight, and I'm going to go to Connor's later and watch the Suns game, and I already told him I was going to have some whiskey.
Are you enjoying having them so close?
Yeah, I was going to go over. They texted me and asked if I wanted to go over yesterday. I guess Leslie's family was over there for. I didn't realize they were going to have a barbecue and all of that. But I was working on our podcast. And I was like, yeah, I'll come over after I'm done. Next thing I know, it's 2:30 and I'm still working on it. And I was getting so irritated. Well, Shadow's been keeping me up with the row, 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 and walking on my face at night. And so I was already kind of cranky because I was tired. And then I'm working on the podcast, and there isn't a lot on mine. So I was like digging and digging and digging. And I'm like, then I would go down a rabbit hole and think maybe I was going to switch my story. Because I'm like, oh, there's more on this one. Yeah.
But so then you're like, well, I'm already so invested in this one.
That's what I did. I was like, you know what? I'm sticking to this and just going to leave it and do what I can. And because there isn't a lot on it, it might be really, I mean, it was interesting to me.
Right.
It was interesting the first time. I'll get into it later, but I'm going to go make my whiskey and Sprite.
Okay. So one of our listeners, Monica, she suggested that we put grapes in our wine, and it keeps it nice and cold, and it's tasty.
Oh, frozen grapes. My sister. So my sister, when I went up to my sister's house for my nephew's graduation, he got his master's. She had, the girls they had a bag of frozen fruit, and they were using that to put in the,
I have frozen strawberries in my strawberry margarita.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, what are you guys doing? And they're like, that's for like, if you want champagne or mimosas, or it's to keep, I'm like, oh, you're putting fruit in it? And they're like, well, they're frozen. It's to keep your drink cold. And I was like, that is such a clever idea.
Isn't that genius? Because it doesn't melt down and turn it into water.
I like the grapes because they would probably stay frozen longer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Thanks, Monica.
That's Monica.
We will do that on our next when we're together. So anyways, Carlene and I are recording via Zoom because the plague has hit my house. Yeah.
The pandemic still exists.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we're quarantining. So anyways, that's that. So,
I mean, it's still going to happen. It's still going to happen probably forever.
Yeah.
There's still going to be times that people are going to get exposed and have to quarantine.
Yeah, like I said, We let our guard down just a little bit, and it found its way in after a year and a half of...
I mean, honestly, you guys seriously have been so careful.
Yeah. The odds were not in our favor.
You would think, because we're at like it's gotten to be a safer place to be in, that it would be
number 1 of the vaccine, and then in a few weeks I'll get the second one. So, but
I mean, that's fine. Probably why you're protected now. It's probably why you haven't gotten sick.
Yeah.
Because you got tested and you were fine, right?
Yeah, I'm fine. And I'm going to test again tomorrow, so we'll see.
Yeah, I bet that's why. Because we're doing it on the computer, my whole story was on my computer, like I do.
Oh no. So what did you do?
Well, then I was like, I'll just copy it and put it on Pages, because I can do that on my phone. It'll transfer it, like mirrors onto my phone. But for some reason, it wasn't doing it. It wasn't working like it has done all the other times that we've had to put it on my phone. I'm going to laugh if it's on here now.
I want to laugh, like, so how far you've come technologically in the pod. You went from like writing out your whole story to
I didn't
typing it out.
I didn't have a computer before.
Right. That's right.
Now I have a computer, so I can.
I just think it's funny.
It is funny.
Because every time you come now, you're like all with your little laptop. You're like so professional.
Oh, no. It's just, I would still write it out. It is exhausting because now I can copy and paste, like before I couldn't. Now it still isn't coming up on my notes. So I had to copy it and then I had to email it to myself.
Oh my gosh.
And I had it on here and I took it off.
Technology.
I was all ready to go. So like, I am not
Somebody's
savvy at all.
Probably calling me about my car warranty.
You need to answer it?
No, it's an unknown number.
I hate those.
Yeah.
No, it's probably, do you want to sell? Hey, I heard remember our last phone call when you were talking about selling your house?
No.
Well, are you still?
I don't remember. I don't know who the fuck you are.
No, but I do remember that I've blocked your number, Kelly, from wherever, and you still keep calling me from different numbers.
Oh, I know.
Miss
I'm getting texts.
Kelly Robot. Oh, text too?
Yeah, I'm getting a ton of texts.
Yep. I don't text.
Well,
phone call.
Because I am who I am, I screen all my fucking phone calls so they can't do anything but text or leave a message. So I'm like, you're not going to catch me slipping. I'm sorry.
No, I won't be. I don't answer. I don't answer any of my calls. And even for my client, well, usually I'm with somebody, but if I don't recognize the number, I mean, and right. I don't like to talk to my people, not that I'm being an ass, but I don't like to connect. We've talked about this. We talked about it on the last episode.
Yeah.
I don't want to connect with people. So I'm like, please leave a message. Please just leave a message or text me. Better yet, just text me.
If it can be said in a text me. If it can't, call me.
That's my thing. Be like, why are you texting me? Just call me. And now I'm like, just text me.
Please text me.
Yeah. It can be exhausting for me if when clients or just anybody calls me, because then it turns into something else.
Well, if you think about it, like the telephone and the existence of the world is a new invention. I mean, I have telephone anxiety. Here's the weird thing. And I was thinking about this the other day. I'm not good at math. I fucking hate math. And I ended up being in accounting positions like my whole adult life. I'm a super introverted person, but because I am a Gemini, I do have that extroverted self that comes out, and it's usually with the help of tequila, as many of my friends know. But
my God,
we have a podcast. I have a podcast. Like, it's so weird. Like, the directions that I have gone in are completely opposite from who I am.
A lot of actors and like radio personalities and stuff, they're introverts.
Right.
They're the shyest people. They have super low self-esteem, but they're very shy people. But of course, when they're out there, they're doing talk shows and stuff. It's almost a way. I'm the same way. Like I've had no problem with quarantine.
Exactly.
I really don't mind.
Me neither.
But my
hubby, on the other hand, he hates
I like
it.
people. I like people. When I get in a situation, once I get in there and I get comfortable, I'm cool with it. But I don't have a problem being solo either.
Right. You can swing both ways.
I can swing both ways.
If I have to turn it on, I'll turn it on. But
exactly.
I prefer the introverted part of it. I prefer being home. I'm a homebody. So maybe we should go into our stories.
See, the good thing is I don't have to drive anywhere.
Yeah.
So I can get so wasted right now.
I think we're on our way.
And I could just walk to Connor's. So
we are on our way. You're gonna show up like totally blitzed.
I will. I'll be like, what game?
All right. Did I show everybody my mistake shirt? I don't think I did in the actual
I
part
think
that
it was not. It wasn't recording.
Yeah. So as we mentioned on the last episode, I went in and I was so excited and I created these shirts and it had a typo in it, and my cousin pointed that out to me when I sent it to her. I can't believe
we did not catch it. Neither one of us did.
Yeah, so this is the mistake shirt, but hey, I can wear it around the house. It's not a big deal. I've been driving to the store with it and everything. Nobody really
I think that those will be like the classic shirt.
It says, "You had me at true crime," and then it says, "But I'm down for that, for the paranormal." Mm-hmm. But the word "down" has an extra N in it.
You know what? That's wait, Alma, why did you change it?
No. Down,
no. We should not have changed it.
Why?
Because it's called Tipsy Tales.
Exactly.
We drink. Obviously, drunks are going to spell it wrong. We should have kept it. Darn it.
Oh my God. Well, all right. So we probably should get into our stories because
that's going to be our classic shirt.
We've already I've drank a whole glass of strawberry margarita, Jose Cuervo, and you are drinking. You've already refilled.
Yeah, and I switched to a straw.
Uh-oh. Well, now it's a party.
Oh yeah. Party in here.
Okay.
All right.
So, I have a really creepy one. It's super creepy. Yeah.
Wait a minute. We didn't talk about.
Should we?
We didn't talk about. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. Usually we tell each other what we're doing it on, but you didn't tell me what you're doing yours on.
Oh, no, I didn't.
I don't. Now this.
And I have no idea what you are doing yours on.
I don't think you do.
I don't. So it's going to be a surprise for both of us.
Oh.
We're going to be story virgins.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is going to be a good one. Story virgin. Yeah, because I don't usually look yours up anyway unless you tell me to, or like you tell me something's on Netflix or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I'm usually pretty surprised when you tell your stories anyway. Oh, by the way, when Phillip was talking, I don't know if we were recording this or not, but he was saying, yeah, I think we did record this. And he said something about you doing, when you and Yvette did it, how you would do more of the paranormal part.
Right.
I felt like he was like, that's Alma's sweet spot. She likes to do that. So I'm told, we haven't swapped in a while, and I do have some good true crime ones I want to do. So we should, we were doing really good about swapping at least once a month, but we've done some true crime together. So I think that kind of distracted us. But you do come up with because I don't do the whole D word, S word, that guy. Mm-hmm. And although my story has some of that, but you get more into the creepy part. I like the UFO stories, but you seem to find some more creepy ones that I won't touch. So I definitely think.
And then you have to come and sage my house.
Yeah. Because I won't let that shit near mine. So, so we should switch it up. But,
okay. Like I said,
anyway.
I do want to do the black-eyed children pretty soon here. So maybe I'll do that on the next one.
Yeah.
I don't think it's demonic. I don't think it's not demonic. It's just really weird and creepy.
Yeah. So you seem to find those. And I won't go near them. So that's why I won't find them.
Yeah.
So, and I think people like to hear those kind of things. And so, yeah. But anyway, I forgot. I wanted to talk.
We want to talk. We want to talk. We really want to talk on the podcast, but alcohol.
Okay. By the time I get to my story,
I know. Really quick.
Okay.
really quick. Did you end up going onto Hulu and watching Sasquatch?
No. What was I doing that distracted me from that? I was doing something else. But I did check it to see. I did like, what is she talking about?
Right.
But no, I haven't actually gone to watch it.
Okay, then we'll talk about it after you've watched it, because I don't want to give anything away, and I don't want to give anything because it's fairly new, and I don't want to give any spoilers out to any of our listeners either. It's just it's kind of, I don't know. It's a true crime story. It's kind of like done in the whole documentary style. Mm-hmm. And it's this guy who back in the early 90s went and worked on a pot farm and had like a weird encounter.
Probably because he worked on a pot farm.
But yeah, exactly. So he overhears this conversation about 3 people being pretty much mutilated, mauled, torn apart by a Sasquatch. Uh-huh. But it turns into a whole true crime thing. So it's kind of cool. I mean, it's like 4 episodes, 3 or 4 episodes. It's not really long, but it was interesting. It was interesting. Okay. Anyways.
Hey, you know what? You know what Zoom does? It makes you look at yourself. And while you're talking, I'm noticing, well, I've always noticed, but I have no lips.
I have lips.
I would totally Kardashian my lips if I had the money.
Hey, they do have, right. I don't know if you noticed before we because we've already gone off into the weeds like 1,000 times, but there is the whole beauty thing on the settings. So I don't know.
What?
I did that on mine.
I can beautify myself?
You can beautify yourself.
Where?
In the same place you went, except go into video settings, and then there's go into video.
Touch up my appearance?
Yes.
Are you kidding?
Yes.
Get out. All right.
So you can turn that thing all the way up, or you can put it right in the middle.
So I look soft and beautiful? Look at that. I look soft. I don't have oily.
Your skin is so supple.
I look so young. That took about 10 years off me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah. Look at you.
Your makeup looked really smooth.
It's the beauty settings. I put it midway.
Wow. Okay, cool.
You like that feature?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt.
Right?
It looks like I just had my makeup touched. Yeah. It didn't plump up my lips or anything, but it definitely ironed out my wrinkles.
Oh my God, I'm hating these stupid lines. Okay, so anybody that's listening that's over 40, you're starting to notice all these different things about your body that, okay. I've talked about this with my friends. I feel like when I look at pictures of my mom in her 40s, I'm definitely I feel like I look better than my mom did at 40. And that's not being I'm not trying to be narcissistic or anything, but it's just, right. I think it's, we eat better, the smoking, all that weird stuff, but I am starting to notice the little lines in my lips. It could be from all the duck lips.
This is what I do. I'll look at my neck does not look like I'm in my 50s.
Right. I notice it more when I'm trying to take selfies with my grandson. He falls asleep. He falls asleep on me, and then I'll try to take a quick picture, and I'm and then I look back at him oh my God, my neck! I look like a turkey neck.
No, you don't. You don't.
Well,
but I have not ever weighed this much, so I'm not used to this thing.
Oh, I'm getting too.
Gobble gobble gobble.
All right, we're having too much fun. And we are also looking at ourselves in a visual medium, and the people that are listening are probably what the fuck are you guys talking about?
I'm already going to have to pee again. All right. Should I take the pee break? Is your story long?
My story's 9 pages.
Okay, I'm peeing
at 20 point Calibri, so.
All right, I'm peeing one more time before we start.
Okay.
It's all the laughing
and the drinking.
This is why people should pay for Patreon so they can see this shit.
Oh my God, we're dumb.
Are we the only ones that think we're funny?
I think so.
In one of these when people do that.
Yeah.
Or
hey, I've noticed when I'm editing the videos, I do this a lot.
Yeah. Oh, do you?
So it looks like I'm picking my nose, which Albert always like accused. Like with my grandson, he's just started like picking his nose. Like he sticks his finger all the way up his nose. He's like, "Oh, it looks like you have a bad habit like your grandma." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Babe, you pick your nose all the time." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll look at it over at you when we're watching a movie and you like got your." I'm like, I hate like feeling like I have a rock in my nose. Like that to me is like the worst feeling ever. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna dig that motherfucker out of there.
Or if there's a hair, like the worst thing. I had a client and I was like, I'm not picking. I just feel like I have a hair in my nose. I was just like itching it. And I'm like, you know what? Sorry, but I'm going for it. And I just like did one of these guys.
Go for the gold.
Oh, now I really go for it. I will say,
for the gold, baby.
Kids your grandson's age are they discover certain holes.
Oh yeah.
And then they're like, oh, what's this?
How far can my finger go up? Oh, yeah. Hey, look at this crayon. How far will it go up my nose? Because
seriously,
we went through that with Mario. And I had to take him to an ENT and he had to dig that fucker out. And he was like 2 years old. And for the like few weeks prior to that, like you could even be in a closed vehicle with the windows all the way up because he stunk. He was like, and he used to breathe like this. But his breath stunk so bad. And it was because that thing was stuck up his nose.
Oh, yeah. Poor thing.
It was so sad.
Poor little guy.
That was so sad. But
I forget who. I was babysitting a little girl when I was a kid down the street, and she stuck a marble or a pea or something up her nose, and I was freaking out trying to get it out. And then we all started laughing, and when she laughed, I think I had one side plugged up, and when she started laughing, it shot out.
It's so common. The ENT was like, this happens like I don't know how many times a week. Like I dig something out of some kid's nose. I don't know how many times a week. Yeah, it's so sad. All right, so I'm going to jump into my story. And like I said, it's a really creepy one, like super creepy. All right, have you heard the story of Dorothy Jane Scott?
I don't believe so.
Okay. When I was reading this story, it sounded so familiar to me. Like, I was like, I could have sworn like either Carlene, Yvette or I had done the story before because it just, for some reason, it sounded like super familiar. But I guess we
right
didn't.
When you said it, it sounded familiar. But I think it's because of Dorothea.
Maybe. No, but the story, the circumstances.
The story itself. Oh, but, okay.
All right. So, Dorothy Jane Scott. So, on May 28th, 1980, it was a normal day for Dorothy Scott. She dropped her 4-year-old son, Sean, off with her parents, Jacob and Vera Scott, for the day. Dorothy was a single mom who lived with her aunt and worked as a secretary for 2 jointly owned stores in Anaheim, California. One was a psychedelic shop that sold lava lamps and love beads, and the other one was a head shop. Known as, one of them's called Singer Psych Shop, and the other one's called Custom John's Head Shop. So, and you know what a head shop is, right? Like they sell paraphernalia, like.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
I do a bong, of course. Hold on.
Yeah. I have no idea what those are. What? What are those?
Oh,
I have no idea.
Okay. Never touched it.
Apparently, her dad was either the owner or co-owner of Singer's, and it was about 5 miles from her home in Stanton, California. So, a little backstory on some of the things that were going on in Dorothy's life in the months leading up to that day. She was described as a homebody that preferred to stay home with her son rather than go out and party. She was very introverted, did not do drugs or drink alcohol, and she was a devout Christian, and she rarely dated. But she did, like they said, rarely, so obviously, like, there was a little bit of dating going on there, here and there.
She did date rarely, but when people say she's a devout Christian, I mean, is that supposed to be like, oh, so she's perfect, she's good?
No, I just think they mean that, she went to church on a regular basis.
She had a lot
like
of, she was faith-based.
Yeah. Sean's father was not.
She's religion based.
Yeah, she wasn't a party animal. Yeah.
Right. Just because she worked at those places didn't mean she was doing it.
Right. And they also said she was like a really nice, sweet person too. But Sean's father was not in the picture, and he lived out of state. So here's the thing. She had been receiving strange and threatening phone calls from an unknown person almost on the daily for several months prior to this day. The calls ranged from flattering to just plain threatening. One call was particularly unsettling. The caller said, "When I get you alone, I will cut you up into bits so no one will ever find you."
What?
Yeah. Creepy.
And this is just, because this is just a nice girl who's trying to raise her son. It's not like she's out partying and getting involved with weird people. So it is kind of like you have the wrong number.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The voice always warned her that he was watching her at all times. On another occasion, the caller, I think he was calling her daily, and he was calling her at work.
What?
Yeah, he was calling her at work. And so she couldn't get away from it. So you think about like 1980, like there's no caller ID. Even after
like somebody who's watching her.
Yeah. So you have to answer the phone. She's a secretary. Yeah. She like was working in the back office. It's like you can't get away from answering the phone at work. Maybe at home, but even back in the 80s, like you had to answer every call because you didn't have the caller ID like right then. And I mean, maybe like you let it go to the answering machine, but I can't remember. I was a kid.
In the 90s, we had
voicemail.
Well, in the 90s, we started getting the little, you could buy the caller ID box because I bought one.
That. Yeah.
But I don't think we had it in the 80s.
Yeah, this is 1980. Yeah. So if there was a one out there, you had to be super rich to have it, probably. It was probably some...
Like you got the latest computer.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the computer.
That kind of thing. Like the regular person probably didn't have it. On another occasion, the caller told her he had a gift for her, and he told her to look outside. So she goes to look outside, and on the hood of her car...
she's at work.
Does that work?
Okay.
On the hood of her car... Well, this is where I'm a little bit confused. This is one of those things where I ran into where it sounds like most of the calls are coming at work, but it sounds like she might have been receiving some at home. Because this one, the consensus, like in most of the articles, sounded like she was at home when she received this call, and she went to look outside, and there's a dead rose sitting on the hood of her car. That's super ominous, right?
Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah. And
so it's somebody who's watching her and sounds like following her around.
Yeah. Oh, definitely following her, knows her every move, because he would give her details of what she was wearing, what she was doing, what her schedule was, her comings and goings. Like he knew all those things. And so on that night, the night in question here, I think it was like May 28th, there was an employee meeting at about 9 p.m. Dorothy let her parents know she would be late coming home. And while at the meeting, she noticed that her co-worker, Conrad Bostrom, was looking not so good. And they noticed he had a strange raised bump on his arm. And it was like red. So she offered to take him to the emergency room. And their co-worker, Pam Head, that's her name, offered to go. Just have to clarify that. That's not a typo on my part.
That's hilarious. Sorry.
Well, and then it's like a head shop, so it's like Pam Head works at the head shop. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
She offers to go with them. Since this was before cell phones, she stopped on the way home to let her parents know what was up. And while she was there, she changed from a black scarf that she was wearing to a warmer red scarf. And that'll come into play.
Yeah, because I was going to say, this is in Anaheim. It's not like it was back east. Wearing a scarf in the 80s?
Listening like to something statement. And they were talking about that they had looked up the crime statistics in Anaheim at that time, and they were actually kind of high.
Well, that was the time that you had Ramirez and all those weirdos. That's too. True. They had a lot of those weird murder.
Like I said, California has more than its fair share of fucking like murder and serial killers.
I think the freaks go to like New York or California.
Yeah. The two opposite ends of the spectrum here.
And then once they do it, then they head off to like Las Vegas, Arizona to hide.
Right.
Go to
Or the
these other
Midwest.
places. Utah. Yeah.
Okay. So she drives him to UC Irvine Medical Center. Both Dorothy and Pam wait in the waiting area together. It turns out Conrad had been bitten by a black widow. They give him a prescription, send him on his merry way. But before they leave the hospital, Conrad needs to fill the prescription at the hospital pharmacy. So Pam goes with him to the pharmacy, and Dorothy offers to go pull her car up so he doesn't have to walk all the way to the car because he's just like not feeling good at all.
No, he just got bit by a black widow.
Yeah. When they go out front expecting her to be waiting, she's not there. And then this is another one of those things where one article says it's like 10 to 15 minutes. Another one's like 20 minutes that they waited out there. And then all of a sudden they see a car coming towards them and they recognize it as her vehicle, but the headlights are on so strong, so they can't make out who's driving. So they kind of like are trying to wave her down.
Like to stop.
Yeah, but it's coming so fast and then speeds right past them out of the parking lot. And then some of the articles say that like as soon as it's out of the parking lot, like the headlights go off and it kind of just disappears into the darkness. And they're like sitting there like, what the fuck? Trying to rationalize it. And they're like, okay, well, maybe she got word of something happening to her son. So they waited for her for like 2 hours in front of the hospital. And it has to already be pretty late at night.
Right.
So, I mean, it's 1980. Maybe there's no cabs in the area and it was hard to get a cab or something. I have no idea why they waited that long. So they wait the 2 hours. Then they decide to call her parents' house and say, hey, did Pam swing by there? And no, Pam, she never, or not, why did I say Pam? Did Dorothy swing by? And she hadn't been there. So then their alarm bells are raised and they decide to call the cops. They're like, okay, something's up. That wasn't right. None of this was right. So the next morning, Dorothy's 1973 Toyota station wagon was found abandoned and engulfed in flames in an alleyway 10 miles from the hospital. Dorothy was nowhere to be found. So, of course, this was the early 80s, and even though the act of stalking had been around for some time, it was not really recognized by law enforcement and, for that matter, psychologists the way it is now. Now we have the statistics and all that stuff backing it up, but even now, it's really hard because law enforcement is more like, is there an act of crime actually being committed at this moment? That's what they focus on. So it's hard now. Before I go on, I just want to give some statistics, like as far as stalking goes now. People aged 18 to 24 have the highest rate of stalking. And by the way, Dorothy's 32 at the time that this happens.
I was thinking she was younger.
Yeah, no, she's 32. Although stalking is a crime in 50 states, less than 1/3 of states classify stalking as a felony. This is now. If it is the first offense. This leaves stalking victims without protections afforded to victims of other violent crimes. The one that stuck out to me the most was 76% of women murdered by an intimate partner were stalked first, while 85% of women who survived murder attempts were stalked. 85%.
Listen, nothing happened to my daughter with my daughter.
Yeah, that's right. Can you talk about that or not yet?
Yeah. No, I can talk about it.
You're going
Allie
out.
Allie was in grade school. The connection is unstable.
Okay, you're good right now.
Okay. When Allie was in grade school, after she finished with grade school, I moved her, even though her school goes to high school, I moved her to a new high school. To the high school that all the kids went to. And I didn't know at the time that this kid had also moved to that high school. But she had been basically stalked from I don't know, probably 7th grade to after she graduated from senior year by this kid. And I think it was like sophomore year, I had gone to the school and was saying something and to the officer that was there. And basically reported it because he was getting really aggressive with my daughter, and he truly believed that they were together, that she was breaking his heart and all this stuff. I kept telling Allie, something is wrong with this kid. Like, he is dangerous. And, kids are like, oh my God, you're so dramatic, whatever. But I kept telling her he is something's not right with him.
Right.
And she later, like she even went to, when she was at college, she came home for summer and was working, and I hear her, "Oh my God, Mom." And I go in there and she's like, he's still, even though she had blocked him from everything, she had told him, "Leave me alone. I am not interested in you." You know, the problem with us is we're really nice.
Right.
And so I had told her, like, that niceness sometimes with somebody like that gets misconstrued. I can't talk. Anyway, they misinterpret it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, misconstrued. And so I said, unfortunately, you're going to have to be really blunt with him.
Right.
Because we tried the nice route and it didn't work. So she's like, I told him. And I even texted him. It's in writing, blah, blah, blah. So flash forward, she's in college. He sent her this weird thing saying that he is, you're a witch, you're casting spells on me, all this weird shit. And so fast forward, later, what was it, like a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
He ends up murdering.
It was last year.
Yeah, it was last year. He ends up murdering the guy at the astrology store who I actually know.
Right.
Not know, I know of, and we've spoken, and I go to that store. But there is a weird circle of coincidence there. Well, then one day I get a knock at the door, and it's his attorney, the murderer's attorney, at my door wanting to talk with me and my daughter about. So anyway, the fact is that not much gets done. I mean, they have to do a lot. That's why so many people end up dead by these people, because even a restraining order doesn't keep them at bay.
Oh, yeah. No, because you think that they're afraid of a restraining order. Yeah.
It's a piece of paper. By the time the police get there, you're already dead.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Tell me, but I need another potty break. I don't know what happened to my computer, but all this other stuff was up on it.
I just watched you stumble back into your...
What was this? It's not even showing me what... It just says Ghost Box.
Hold on. You have to have something running in the background.
I do, but...
Shut down.
But what Ghost Box session was this? Why do I have it?
That is so weird.
Is it when we went... I got it off. Is it when we went to... Well, how did that even come up?
That is... I have no idea. Because you just got up, went to the restroom, and then I saw you sit back down. And then that's when I kind of heard a little muffling.
Yeah. When I sat back down, I was like, all this stuff was on my computer, and I just clicked out of it. But I could hear it all happening. And I'm like, what are you doing? Come on. Seriously.
Yeah. It wasn't me.
I'm freaking out right now because I was not by my computer or my phone. I was in the bathroom. I came back. This shit was up.
Okay. Coincidentally, I'll decide whether we take this out. But coincidentally, we got a message from somebody today that might be linked to the Jesse Shockley case. And to be determined.
Oh, I'm getting chills right now. I need to stop drinking because you haven't even gotten through your story, and I'm going to have to pee again.
I know.
All I kept thinking about in the bathroom was, how can I have so much pee? I'm sipping. Like, I've definitely, if I was to fill, that would have filled a bucket. I didn't have that much liquid in me. Don't know.
Apparently you did.
Apparently. I just want to know where that Ghost Box session came from.
We did record on your phone, didn't we? I think we did for a minute when we went up there.
So I want to know what Ghost Box that was, because if it was about Jesse, that's going to be really freaky, because while I'm talking to her today, my TV, like that, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then just now you saw, I was not here.
Right.
I was in the bathroom. I come back and that shit is up and playing.
So a little bit more than what Phillip refers to as a cosmic coincidence.
Yes.
Cosmic quinky dink.
I call it an oh shit moment.
Yeah.
All right. Let me just take one more drinky poo and then you go ahead. Finish your. Right.
So, let's see. Dorothy was so terrified of the person that had been stalking her that she had just started taking karate classes just before, like literally days. I think a couple of days before she disappeared.
I mean, I would have bought a gun.
Well, she thought about it, but she was more worried that her son would find it and some sort of accident. Like, you know, the things that us mothers like think about when thinking about buying a gun. Dorothy even at... Okay, you just said that. Adding to the trauma that they were already going through, the caller continued to call, taunting her parents. So now the caller is calling the parents' house. And this is back in the day where everybody's numbers were published in the phone book. Remember?
Like, yeah, because back in the day, you actually had to ask the phone company. Sometimes, I think later it got to where you actually had to pay extra to have it unlisted.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how I remember that, but yeah.
That's why the phone books were like, they start out like this.
Do you still get a phone book? Like every once in a while, we'll get like... It hasn't been for a while now. Yeah.
It's got like the business
I always feel bad because I toss it in the garbage as soon as I get it, or in the recycle.
Recycle.
Yeah, we don't need it. If you're gonna look up something, you can look it up online at this point. You got your phone in your hand. All right. So, like I said, this dude is calling the parents, and usually it's Vera, the mother, who picks up the phone. And the first time he calls the house, he says, "Are you related to Dorothy?" Vera says yes. And he says, "I've got her." And then he hangs up. This was actually the first confirmation they had that the caller was actually the kidnapper. But it ended up a dead end for the detectives working on finding her. So even though they were discouraged from not reaching out to the press, a whole week or so goes by, and Jacob, the dad, he's like, "Fuck this. I'm going to the newspaper." And he talks to them, gives them the story. And the paper... he ends up going to the Orange County Register. And then they end up publishing the story. And as soon as, I think it's on the 12th, June 12th. So when the story gets published, who calls the newspaper? This fucking piece of shit.
Of course, the stalker.
Yeah. And
just like the Zodiac killer and all the rest. They like the attention.
They love the attention. So anyways, he gets a hold of the editor, Pat Riley. Not Pat Riley, different Pat Riley.
Right.
He says to him, "I killed her. I killed Dorothy Scott. She was my love. I caught her cheating with another man. She denied having someone else. I killed her." So the caller then goes in detail about things only the person having anything to do with her disappearance would know. For instance, the red scarf. Other than Pat, Conrad, and the parents, it wasn't published in the newspaper. This detail would only have been known by the person having anything to do with her disappearance. And also, he let them know that specifically Conrad was being treated for the spider bite. So he was, he knew about that too. It's so creepy. It's like he was that close, which makes me think,
did he? Well,
did he work with her?
Oh.
Did he work near her? Like,
was he Conrad?
No, because Conrad was with Pam, and their stories line up. Right. So, I don't know. Neither of these details had been published in the article. Oh, he also claimed that Dorothy had phoned him from the hospital that night, which Pam was like, "Bullshit. She was with me the whole fucking time. The only time she wasn't with me was when she went to the bathroom right before she went to go to the car. And that was it. That time frame wouldn't have been enough for somebody to just show up. You know what I mean? And do all that." Right. Oh my God. I already sound drunk. Okay.
Wait till I get to my story.
I know.
I'm sloshed.
Just speculation on my part. Perhaps he followed her from the meeting to her house, then to the hospital, just waiting for a chance to get her alone. Whoever this person was, was just so on top of her movements. And that's even this person doesn't have a life.
But how? Because she already knows at this point she has a stalker. Right. So how is she not she's hypersensitive and she's aware of it. So
right. I don't know why she went out to the car alone at this point.
Oh, well, that too. How did he get away being that close to her without her noticing? Oh, that guy. There's somebody following me, or that same guy keeps being in all the. You know what I mean? It has to be somebody she was used to being around.
Right.
That's what I think.
She even tells somebody, because at this point, probably everybody she knows and works with knows that she has a stalker. And she mentions to somebody that the voice on the other end of the line seems somewhat familiar to her, but she can't place it. So it's somebody she's met, but not intimately enough to really know their voice. Anyways, when the conversation was related to the parents, they said that to their knowledge, she didn't have a boyfriend or was not seeing anyone. She didn't have the fucking time. She worked 2 jobs. She had a fucking
she's trying to raise
4-year-old child. Yeah. So she was like basically to work, back home, pick up her kid, go back home. That was her life at that point. So the thought was that this guy was creating a fantasy world with Dorothy at the center of it, which unfortunately many stalkers do that.
Well, that's what Allie's did.
Yeah. Like it's a mental disorder. And actually, when I was kind of researching stalkers, there's like these different categorizations of stalkers, and that's one of them where they're like completely delusional, where they've created this whole life and storyline with this person that doesn't exist in reality. Okay, she doesn't have a boyfriend according to her parents, and anybody that knows her, they're like, there's nobody in her life right now. So bullshit. So the months turn into years and still no clues as to what happened to Dorothy or where she might be. However, this piece of shit continues to taunt mainly her mom.
What a fucker.
Calling every Wednesday for 4 years straight.
Oh my gosh.
Either asking for Dorothy or saying he killed her. Like he alternates, like whatever his message.
What a piece of shit.
But he never stays on the line long enough for them to trace the call. And this isn't for lack of trying. The police do set up like a tracker, and he just never stays on the line long enough for them to figure out where it's coming from. So eventually he fucks up because all this time he's getting Vera, and eventually he gets Jacob, the dad. And this must have thrown him off because he's a fucking coward. Or he knows Jacob. Jacob probably knows his voice, or he's afraid. And that's another thing that Vera said, that it was obvious that this person's disguising their voice. So anyways, he stops calling for a long time. So as far as suspects go, there really were none that the police were absolutely convinced about did this. Her son's father, Dennis Terry, was thoroughly looked into, but he was in Missouri at the time and had an alibi, so he was completely ruled out. And then there's this one name that I keep running across, and in some of these articles, it's pure speculation, and the guy died in like 2014, but his name keeps coming up. Anyways, I just want to mention there's definitely no forensic evidence or otherwise that links him to this case, and the cops didn't even look into him. But those internet sleuths, they keep pulling at that thread. So
hey, they've solved cases.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just bringing it up, but I just want you to know that the guy's dead.
What's his name?
Mike Butler. He was a mechanic who worked, I think, in the same strip mall as the head shop. And he was said to have some alternative spiritual beliefs, mainly in the occult, maybe a devil worshiper, something like that. He was a strange character. He was really weird. So his sister also worked at the head shop where Dorothy worked at. So there's that connection. But like I said, it's all speculation. On August 6, 1984, human bones were found about 30 feet from the Santa Ana Canyon Road, right either next to her or on top of her bones. There was also dog bones. One of the articles I read said that they were on top of her, but like even Wikipedia is like they were side by side. So it's her and then there's the dog bones. And they didn't find a full set of bones either. So it's like some of her bones.
What?
So, yeah.
What would he have done with the bones?
I have no idea. Well, I mean, you never know. Like critters could have carried them off, or maybe like all of her was there, or He could have used them as a necklace. Yeah. Ugh. It was workers working construction nearby that found the bones. They were partially charred remains. They were believed to be charred because there was a bushfire that had swept across the area in 1982. So there was some speculation that perhaps he tried to burn the body and destroy the evidence, and that started, but the authorities are like, no, that's not what happened. There was 100+ homes that were like destroyed in this fire, but they use this to determine how long the bones had been there. So remember, she disappears in summer of 1980, and the fire happened in 1982. So they think around that time the bones were out there. So a turquoise ring and watch were also found. Scott's mother said the watch had, and I want to talk about this at some time. The watch had stopped at 12:30 a.m. on May 29th. So that's literally an hour after she disappeared, around that time.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, it says about an hour after Head and Bostrom had last seen the Scott's vehicle. And this isn't the first time I've run across this in stories, and I think you've mentioned it too, where like somebody's killed and their watch completely stopped at the time of their death. Mm-hmm. So I just thought that was interesting. I thought it's like something we should like
that is interesting.
Maybe look into. Or maybe he broke the watch, doing whatever he did to her.
Hurting her, yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe it was a wind-up watch and it just coincidentally stopped. But I just think it's...
Who knows? But that's interesting.
Yeah. So on August 14th, the bones were identified as Scott's by dental records. An autopsy could not determine the cause of death. A memorial service was held on August 22nd. Also, 2 days after her remains were found, that fucking asshole calls her mom again.
Oh, no.
And he asks, is Dorothy there? So both Jacob and Vera pass away without getting any real answers as to what happened to their daughter. I'm sure now in the afterlife, of course, they have all the answers they need. Mm-hmm. However, her son Sean still continues to look for answers, regarding the case. So that was my story.
Wow.
Creepy.
Very, very. So it's still an open case then, or a cold case.
Yeah, cold case. Yeah. Yeah.
Because they don't know who it is.
Yep.
What a piece of shit. So for all they know, he's done it to other people. We don't know.
Yeah. And there was another link, but like, I didn't really have time to really get into the details. But there was another case that was kind of similar, but I was like, and it happened around the same time frame. And the body was buried around the same area.
Oh.
But the parents weren't receiving calls, and she hadn't been receiving calls up until then. So I don't know.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
You like that one?
And it's got a cliffhanger. Dun,
yes.
dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Listen, I'll be back.
Okay.
After these
with your baby bladder. Hey listeners, it's Alma. If you're enjoying this episode of Tipsy Tales, please consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/Tipsy Tales. Or you can check out our merch store at Tipsy Tales Podcast merch.store. We love you for listening. We have to try this sometime. It's Jose Cuervo strawberry margarita with lime. And then I threw these frozen strawberries in there. So good. It's so good.
It's so good. That sounds like a good.
So
that
good.
Sounds like that's a good. That's a good summer drink. I think I'm gonna hit Connor and Leslie's pool when I go over there.
You know what? I've been meaning to ask you about your pool.
Yeah,
You need help? Because I'll go over there and help you.
I have Aiden's roommate Zach is coming over this week. We're going to take out all the sand out of my filter, which I just did, and I'm going to take the laterals to the pool store because they weren't broken, but clearly something is broken because my pool is full of sand.
Great.
When I backwash, sand is just coming out, so it's got to be the laterals or the tube thing that the laterals.
Yeah. There's a crack somewhere,
so anyway,
probably.
There's something.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm redoing the whole thing all over again, which is not cheap. And it's not fun. And it's hotter than heck already, so.
Oh, yeah. Today was hot.
Yeah.
So what do you got for us?
Well, I'm for some reason it went off my phone. Well, oops. I remember I had it up. Everything.
You could have told me. I could have printed it out and delivered it to you.
Could have done that. That would have been handy.
Yeah.
That's okay. We got this. Okay, so this story I had seen when I was researching another story and Ghost Finders had gone. Remember, it was at a time that we were talking about Ghost Finders where the guy Rob he constantly is getting possessed.
Right.
Anytime somebody else is having an experience, it's kind of like Zach Bagans.
Yeah.
Bagan?
Yeah.
Where if somebody else is getting attention or somebody else is having an experience, they're all of a sudden becoming possessed by something.
Zach Baggy Pants.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to start calling him.
This Rob is the same way, and his all start with like this staring thing that he does with people.
God,
and then
don't do that.
It's super annoying.
Why?
So anyway, I saw this story come up actually. This YouTuber, Frank, what do they call him? It's in here, Frank. I was watching him and he went into this house by himself. I'm going to repeat this. But anyway, watching his experience, I was like, okay, this shit is haunted.
Right.
So I started digging and I couldn't really find much on this house. So the only thing I could find, like Ghost Adventures, all those people, they haven't found it yet. The Ghost Finders did. And then I realized, I did see this.
Uh-oh.
But at the time, there wasn't all this other stuff on there.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
okay.
Now I can
So anyway, yeah. So I must have opted to not do this story because I didn't find them very credible. So I was like, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
But I find this other stuff pretty credible. Incredible. So some people call it the Bergen House, but it's the Bergen House, I think. Anyway, it's Bergen. And it's not on Virgin Street or anything. It's in what is it? Genesee County, Bergen, New York.
Okay.
So that's the town's name, is Bergen.
Okay.
Anyway, it's this house. It looks kind of run down. I mean, it is. Some people think it looks like the Conjuring house. Conjure?
Ooh.
Yeah.
From the movie or the actual house? The actual house.
Okay. It is pretty spooky looking.
Okay.
It was built, I think, from the actual house. It was built from that's what people were saying. It was built in 1858.
Oh.
That's old.
Yeah, that's old.
And so there's a swamp around it too. Also, I'm confused because some sites are like it's a 10,000-year-old swamp. Others are like it's a 400 million year old swamp. I'm like, that's pretty old. How would you know that?
And that's a huge discrepancy.
Yeah. But the town or the city of Genesee or whatever on their thing, it says 400 million year old swamp, or whatever. It's that's an unbelievable amount. I like the 10,000. To me, 10,000 years is a long time. Let's just go with it's a very old swamp.
Right.
That it's right next to. Anyway, so that whole property has a very long history of being haunted, and the house. I think even when the original people lived there, it was a German family, I think. But anyway, they even said things about weird shit happening there, even though they did weird shit. They were weird. Oh, here's another weird thing. It's like a triangle shaped property. So it's in a triangle.
Okay, so the property itself, usually it's like on a grid. Like
right. It's a triangle.
Is it because there's a river or something? Like some sort of natural...
Could be because of the swamp.
Okay.
I don't know, but to me, that could be why there's so much activity also. The fact that it's a triangle.
Right. Oh.
You know, Bermuda Triangle, pyramids, all kinds of weird things.
Right.
Okay.
Or it's on a ley line.
Yeah. Well, the water itself,
Conductor.
then the triangle. I mean, it has all kinds of crazy shit to make it crazy haunted. Yeah, 400 million year old swamp is what they say. Anyway, they say again, there's not a lot of proof of any of this or documentation because I guess it like wherever they held all that courthouse or whatever, where they held all those old records, there was a fire and everything burnt up, so they don't have the records to all this. So it's kind of like they say, I mean, who knows? I don't know. It's just rumor has it.
Rumor has it.
Exactly. Rumor has it. Elmer and Ellen lived down there. Oh my God, Elmer and Ellen. That was my grandmother and my grandfather's name. Why would I have just said that? That was weird. That was so weird. All right. That was really weird. It just rolled off my tongue like that. Yeah. All right. Anyway, Oh, what they said was that because, that swamp and that whole land is so old. First of all, they said it had some, as everything else, had Native American ties to it.
Right.
It was like, but it also is where witches would go and do rituals down there on that land.
Right. Oh.
In that area.
Interesting.
Yeah. On that property.
Is this one of those things where like it's word of mouth, like somebody said witches hung out there, or actual witches hung out there?
I mean, I think it was once documented, but that's something that got burned away. I don't know, but right. It's kind of like this was a Native American territory. Witches used to perform, whatever rituals out here, that kind of thing. Where's the documentation? I don't think there is any.
Right.
I didn't find any, but okay. Okay, so now there's a homeowner named Kathy Hegland. That I believe she still owns the property. And I think her family got the property. Oh, hi, baby. I think her family got the property like in the 60s sometime. Anyway, she recants some stories of being a child
drinking
and being visited by souls who roam the property, by some of the souls that roam the property. Okay, so she says, this is one of the memories that she shared. She said that one afternoon her mom put her down for like a nap after lunch. And when she was in bed, three souls, had come to visit her, 2 men and a woman. And she said they were dressed in like 30s or 40s type garments, from like the shoes and the hat and all that. She states that 2 of them seemed to be quite angry, and she had the feeling they were going to hurt her that afternoon. But then one of them stopped it from happening.
Oh,
yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah.
She tells the story. Okay, so there's the main house on the property. And then when you walk out, there's this big barn, and the barn area has some wicked stories attached to it, where supposedly a lot of the paranormal stuff happens. But from what I saw, there's plenty of paranormal stuff that happens in the house.
Right.
Okay, so she tells a story out. So she's out in the barn with this crew that was videotaping. And she tells a story that happened between 1845 and 1855. Again, they don't have documentation because it burned in the fire.
Right.
A young girl had become pregnant. And I think somewhere in all the stories, somebody had said that it was a prominent man. I think it was like a judge or somebody that she had gotten pregnant by. And she was really young. I want to say, because back then it was like a 16-year-old and a 30 or 40-year-old man, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, she had gotten pregnant by this prominent man who wanted nothing to do with her.
Okay.
So she was really upset, and she went out to the barn. She committed suicide by hanging herself by the rafters, in the barn.
Oh.
Yeah. So Kathy explains how the young woman spoke German because her family had come over from Germany. Her father had come over from Germany, and the whole family, whatever. And then this woman, Kathy, who now lives in there, says her son starts speaking fluent German. To this day, he speaks fluent German.
What the fuck? Really?
He never got a lesson. Not once.
Okay.
He did not get lessons for German.
Unexplainable.
Weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Kathy also states that she has had several psychics come to the property who have stated that a serial killer lived on the property. They would take these children off the orphan train. So a train full of orphans would come, and they would, I don't know if they lured them or they just took them. I don't know the difference. But anyway, they would take these kids, and I think the story goes that they would have them work on the farm or whatever it was, on the land.
Right.
And then the children would just disappear.
What?
Yeah, they would just suddenly disappear. So, because she says the property is just full of children's spirits.
Right.
Like they just roam the property, and you can hear them. Oh, people get tons. Like the people that do explore their ghost hunt. If you watch YouTube's, you can't deny an EVP. I don't think you can. There's a lot of EVPs of like you can hear little kids laughing. You can hear them going, hi. You can hear a woman saying hi. I mean,
I just got goosebumps right now.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do it, because the EVPs to me were like, okay.
Are
I mean, you
there
can.
any EVPs that I could just put a clip of in our show notes, like on YouTube?
Oh, yeah, I bet we can pull some of those up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because there's not a whole lot of YouTubes out there of it. There's
All right.
not very many. Oh, and there are just on YouTube, there's just clips of the EVPs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
The serial killer.
Burpee.
Okay. They would often. Okay. So Kathy says one of the children named Raymond, he came from India. He identified himself over a spirit box, which that's another thing. The spirit box sessions that these people have are some of them are pretty like how we have, like, we're like, they're answering us.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are pretty much like that. It's really cool. Some I'm like, okay, I can make anything out of that. But some of them are answering. But this little kid comes over the spirit box, and I guess through the spirit box, they learned that he says he was murdered by the German family. So the girl that hung herself, her family murdered him. And he said he was surrounded in front of the barn and killed and fed to the pigs.
Oh, what?
By the German family. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the person asked, like, have you ever thought of moving away from here?
Yeah.
And she said she had moved several times from the property, but something keeps bringing her back to it. There's just this pull that keeps bringing her back.
I'm surprised more people haven't investigated this place. It sounds really, really creepy.
This is like one I would be like,
this
you
is
need to
haunted.
check this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually those ones, though, the really rare ones that don't get investigated. It's like the really popular ones are always on the list to get investigated, and they're the least haunted. Mm-hmm. But then you find these little gems. Sorry.
Oh yeah, this is a good one. This, to me, this was a gem, the hidden gem.
Mm-hmm.
That, I mean, I'm kind of glad. I'm glad that somebody like Zach. I mean, it's sad that Ghost Finders was able to taint it, but I'm glad that somebody wasn't able to taint it.
Right.
So she says she's no longer afraid because she has learned that although there's a few who are unpleasant, like the spirits are unpleasant, those that visit are souls trying to interact just like us, just souls trying to interact with her. She has 2 pictures. Okay, so there's these 2 pictures, not photos. They almost remind me of those velvet those velvet pictures.
Oh, like a picture. Oh, okay.
It's a painting, yeah.
Okay.
So these are paintings of these 2 little girls. One has like a tear in her eye, and anyway, she said that while the story is that the little girl's eyes will move. She said that while she was hanging those pictures up in the living room or wherever they are now, the little girl's eyes in one of the pictures moved, and she smiled at her.
What?
Yeah. Now these aren't photos. These are
moved and smiled
at her. And so she said she ended up dropping the picture.
Well, yeah.
From being freaked out, obviously. Yeah. I would have been freaked out too. Yeah. It's not even like it's a fucking photo. I don't know why I would have ran. Would be better. Why would I think a photo would be better? I don't know.
Right, I don't know. I could see where something like that, like something like a velvet picture, that probably would freak me the fuck out if it smiled at me. If it moved and smiled.
Creepy.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
It's not like a holographic picture.
No. Like if you had like a poster in your room when you were a kid and the eyes follow you when you move, that's not even what happened. The eyes literally followed.
By the way, I've never had a poster in my room where the eyes followed me when I moved.
Oh, yeah. When you move, it looks like the eyes are following you. No. You haven't ever done that? No. Oh, yeah. We used to do that. We're like, look, it's following us because it looks like the eyes are following you if you move. All right. Just try it. Try it with some photos in your house. All right. Oh, my God. You never did that?
No.
We were weird kids then.
I did have dolls that their eyes would follow me, though. That's creepy.
All right. So where was I? Okay. In one of the bedrooms, people report seeing a black mass.
Okay.
Orbs. And
those are never good. Black masses.
In the room that she slept in, possibly. I don't know. But anyway, it's a black mass, orbs, and hearing a woman singing. And Kathy believes the woman singing to be the mother of the German family. And I think that the German family has been there since she was, obviously a baby. And so she tells a story of at one time that they hear the woman singing, and as she starts to leave the room, the woman stops singing. When she comes back in the room, they hear the woman singing, and they were like, "Do you know who this is?" And you hear the woman say, "Baby," and they're referring to
Ooh.
Kathy. Yeah,
Okay.
and they're referring to Kathy, I guess, as being a baby.
Okay.
So the woman Kathy says they always refer to her as the baby.
Okay.
Okay. So when the woman who's doing the YouTube interview, she starts speaking in German, and the German woman's name, the spirit, is named Karina,
Mm-hmm.
and so she's like speaking in German to this Karina.
Mm-hmm.
And the YouTube is called A Real Haunted House in Bergen, New York, or NY, it actually says. And it's World Hop with Teej. Teej? I don't know.
You'll have to send me the link.
I will. They were filming, and she began speaking in German, and a couple of orbs went whoop, like they were responding to her questions.
Mm-hmm.
And she even got excited. She was like, "Oh my god," because she got a response. There is a blue room. Okay, the blue room, freaky shit. There's a blue room in the house, and I think that one's upstairs. So you go up the stairs are dark. It's creepy. They're small. You go up this room, and the upstairs is what's very active. And this blue room has a closet, and in the closet, they say that that's the portal where they all come in.
Oh.
Many people in that closet area lose battery life, and even this YouTuber, this person, had said that they lost battery life, and then when they went back downstairs and were filming something else, everything was working fine. Like the battery life came back and everything was great. It was only in the closet and upstairs that they had lost that battery life.
Interesting.
Oh, Brother Frank. That's it. Okay, so Brother Frank is the reason why I ended up doing the story.
Brother Frank?
Yeah, that's the YouTube is called Brother Frank.
Oh, okay.
This guy's crazy. The last thing I would do is go into this house by myself, because if I knew it was this haunted, nobody, not the owners, not anybody is there.
Right.
Holy shit. Because listen, I consider myself pretty brave when it comes to spirit. I am not brave when it comes, well, I'm pretty brave when it comes to physical world too, but physical world scares me way more than spirit does. I'm not going in that house by myself. There's no way. I want standby people. No, I'm not going in that house by myself. This guy goes in by himself. So I think he was really limited on time. And I honestly don't think he expected to get what he got, because he even mentions, like, he pulls out his REM pod and he's like, the guys, this barely goes off ever, if ever, And so I'm like, wow, this guy's pretty legit. He's not the kind of YouTuber where like it's always going off and it's always crazy and he's always getting something.
Right.
So he takes the REM pod and puts it on a chair on the bottom floor. He's on the first floor. He kind of explores the kitchen and whatever and showing around. And I think, oh yes, it was as he puts the REM pod down, and Kathy had told him, if you go upstairs, make sure you ask for permission. And he's explaining this to YouTube audience. He's like, hey, Kathy had said I need to ask for, and all of a sudden you hear this, like it sounds like a moan or a growl. And he's like, did you guys hear that? That sounded like a growl to me. And so that's what he's saying. He says it sounds like a growl. And the first time I heard it, I was like, it sounded like a moan, but all right. The second time I heard it, I'm like, maybe
it's
a little more aggressive than a moan. Yeah. It's a growl. Anyway, I don't know what it was, but it was definitely, I'm surprised he heard it. It was definitely on his equipment, but he heard it with his own ears. So it had to be pretty loud. It was definitely a warning, I think. Like,
bye. I do not do growls. Bye.
Well, because he's he's stating, like, I'm supposed to ask for permission. And so either something's saying that's right, bitch.
So I have to know. So if we're on a ghost hunt and we hear a growl, are we leaving?
I would say, let's get the fuck out of here, because I'm not messing with something like that, or I'm going to have to make it go away. And that's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
I have to decide if I'm at somebody's house or place of business, or if we're just out in the open.
Yeah.
I mean,
if they're paying you to clear the, if you're doing it for free, Bye.
Fuck no. I'm out. Roll
If
all
something
you want.
growls at me, that's like
out.
a warning.
Yeah.
If
I'm
I
out.
growl at you, that means get the fuck away from me.
Right. Yeah.
Which on occasion I have done.
If I'm at your house and something growls at us, then I have to, I have to call in, hire people to come and get rid of it. But if we're outside and something growls at us, I'm like, we're getting the fuck out of here. I'm not wasting my energy on that. Anyway, okay, so he does mention the fact that he was getting like the temperature change, like it's really cold in here. And while explaining about the dark stairs, okay, I did say he had to ask for permission. He then sets up the REM pod. I don't think it made any noise.
That's what we need.
A REM pod.
Yes.
You know what else they have? They have these vibration balls. So you put the balls down, and then if something. No, that sounded yummy.
Vibration balls.
I want some vibrating balls. They're balls that if something comes in their area, they light up. They light up.
Oh.
And so
usually that's what happens if something comes in their area.
They use them in paranormal ghost hunts a lot.
Okay.
Now. It's the new thing.
Hey.
I guess.
Yeah. On our wish list.
Yeah. I think they're a lot cheaper than other things just because they're.
We need a benefactor.
Yeah, we do.
We need a ghost hunt benefactor.
We need a rich daddy.
Yes.
We need a rich daddy. Will you be my rich daddy? All right.
And not the stalker type. We don't want to stalk.
No.
Just give us the money and
we don't want to put out.
And watch us from afar. But don't call us.
No. Okay. Yeah, he talks about he even is talking after he sets the REM pod down and stuff, and he's waiting to see if it's going to go off. He's talking about he's looking out a window, and he's talking about I think that's where the witches did their ceremonies and yada yada yada. And then he gathers his shit and he goes into the blue room. This is where shit starts going crazy. And some of these people, when you're kind of like, you could have made that door close, or you could have made that happen, or you could have done that. This guy's all alone. You could tell he's kind of shocked himself because you could tell he really didn't expect anything to happen. Well, in the blue room, he's speaking of all the activity people have gotten, and the activity of the REM pod, and he begins to set up. So I guess there's a table they have set up, and they have done a seance at that table. So he's like, I'm going to put the REM pod right here. I'm going to use the EMF meter. He puts that around, and he's like, I'm going to see what happens. So he doesn't get much. Oh wait, I think he actually had taken the REM pod and put it where the portal is, between the closet and the bedroom. In the bedroom, between the closet door, in the bedroom, where that is.
Okay.
On the threshold. So he has his EMF meter and whatever. When the REM pod is in that closet, there are times that it just starts going crazy.
Really?
And he's over at the table area. And there were times he just keeps going back and forth, and you can fast forward it, nothing happens. He's just talking away, and you're like, okay, let us listen, because I think he's just killing time. He doesn't want dead air. He's even like, hey, Frank TV, whatever. But he set the REM pod down, and it just starts going crazy inside that closet area, and he's super excited. He's like, oh my gosh, it's going crazy, blah 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 blah. The EMF meter starts flashing.
What's the name of this house again? Sorry.
Huh?
What's the name of the house again? Or the property?
Bergen. Bergen.
Okay, sorry. So the REM pod, he sets all that up.
Yeah. He then decides to move the REM pod. Oh, I already said this. To the portal. And when he moved it to the portal, he'll say oh, that's me making it go off because I'm touching it.
Right.
And then he put it down, and it would not stop. It was just like, and he's like, holy cow, it's already going crazy.
Right.
So now he's kind of going back and forth from the room, because there's just a door in between, and the door is open. And he's going back and forth, and he's talking, and he's like, thank you guys, thank you for making that go off, thanking spirit, thanks for the whatever. And as he's doing that, he continues to go back and forth from room to room. He actually catches, okay, so he's in the room, the freaking door shuts.
Right.
It's not a light door. It shuts. It's a big wooden door. It shuts. He's like, oh my God. He gets really excited. So then he goes in the other room. And at one point, after about the second time of it closing, he asks them, he opens the door and he shows like what effort is needed. And he goes, can you make the door close? And he's a good distance away. He says, can you make that door shut again? Can you close the door? And you see the door.
Shut up.
No joke. That was another reason.
Wow.
That was like my okay, I'm fucking doing this house. Like, come on. That's insane.
Right.
Yeah, that was, oh my gosh. Okay, that's crazy. So he keeps talking to them and just kind of like, thanking them for doing whatever and communicating with him. He then decides he's going to go out to the barn. But he didn't get anything out in the barn area.
Nothing.
I don't even think he got an EVP. He didn't get any activity during a short time. Then he decides he's going to do like a little walk around, and he didn't get anything. I actually want to say he got 2 EVPs. One might have been, and I could be wrong, but I want to say he even caught a woman like a kind of sound.
Okay.
And I could be wrong, but I thought he did. I could be thinking of another ghost hunter that might have done that. I'm telling you, a lot of people have caught like, hi, and children laughing. They caught creepy laughing. Like,
okay. Don't do that ever again.
Yeah, they caught that. It's
I don't
crazy.
like that.
Yeah, they got some, and it's stuff like sometimes I was watching some and I'm like, I didn't hear a damn thing.
Right.
Like, it's that shh. And then they're like, did you hear it? It said I wanted a hamburger.
No. It said you wanted a hot dog, clearly. Open wide.
It said you're stupid and you should go work for Ghost Finders or Ghost Adventures. Okay, so I did, like I said, I watched Ghost Finders, who also paid a visit to the haunted house. But I noticed I had watched it once before, and I already told you all this.
Right.
I didn't find Rob's many times of being possessed credible. And it's sad because I think they also got some EVPs, but again, I don't trust them because like downstairs outside the kitchen area, I think it is, they did a seance in that room. I think it was downstairs by the kitchen. Him and all his people did some seances, and that's where he became. And then when he went out by the barn, he became possessed by something else. Oh, so Kathy also said in the barn area, there's a window up high. She says that people have actually taken photos. I didn't see any of these. They could be. There's actually a website. I'll look for it and try and send it to you. That just has like gobs of pictures. But I didn't think they had paranormal pictures. It's just pictures of the actual property.
Okay.
But she said people have actually caught the apparitions of like little kids sitting in the little area. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So like I said, I already covered all this. There isn't much on YouTube or even history. I did see something said that one of the paranormal shows on the History Channel, it might have been Travel Channel or something. Anyway, that they had done something on the house, but right. I couldn't find it. I didn't see it. I looked it up. I couldn't find it. I did do a lot of, like, I looked on Wikipedia. I looked everywhere. I looked on all the websites I could look on and couldn't find any documentation of this house that really, like, gave real stuff. But the amateurs that actually went in there that caught stuff, that I find more credible than anything else. They got the EVPs or used the REM pods or things like that. That's it. Oh, and the spirit box sessions. But I like the EVPs and the spirit box sessions that people get together. But yeah, there's some good things on that. There's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot on YouTube. Pretty cool though, right?
Right.
That is a spooky. And okay, so people have also, I didn't put this in my notes, but I knew I'd remember it. I
want to show the house. This is it, right? Wait, hold on. Is that it? Can you see
Yes. Yeah. Spooky, right?
it? Does that say keep out?
Yeah. Oh, well, I guess they get a lot of visitors, since they've actually been, people can make a reservation to go. And I think they live in there. It's full of all their stuff.
Right.
So, their beds and in one of the bedrooms, there's a bed, where, you can see like the imprint of somebody sitting on the bed.
Ooh.
Yeah. And, I think it's the room where Kathy used to sleep in or something. But anyway, she says that you could feel like somebody bumping the bed at night, to wake you up or something,
yeah. No, fuck that.
and feel like there's an energy there that's called Mr. Black.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
who I think they think that's the Black Mass, but
Mr.
people
Black.
have seen him.
That's perfect.
He's all dressed in black.
Mm-hmm.
People have gotten scratched there, so that's why they say there's like good and bad. Oh, but wait, the woman who hung herself, they call her, I think they call her Catherine, or Catherine, I think they call her. She is known to, people have seen apparition of her hanging from the rafters. She makes herself known in the barn. Oh, I think she makes herself known throughout the whole house, but she's definitely one of the voices on the EVP and the spirit box. She's been known to speak on the spirit box, but people have said that they've gotten scratched.
Yeah.
My cat is going she just sits at that freaking bathroom door.
Luckily with your headphones on, it kind of blocks all that out, I think.
Oh, you can't hear her?
I can't hear her.
Okay, good. It's driving me crazy. Anyway, they say that people have gotten scratched, and so there are some ugly entities, I guess, there, but I think the good outweigh the bad.
Right.
That's why Kathy said she's not afraid to be there anymore, because she just knows it's just souls trying to reach out.
Right.
But I think, kind of with anywhere, if there's people calling them in, with light comes dark.
Right.
So that's why I always explain with people
Yikes.
at my house that it's protected and I know what's coming through. So don't go home and start trying to stir up stuff, because you don't know what you're going to get.
Exactly.
But yeah, this house is definitely
sounds like it's pretty fucking haunted.
Activity from closing doors, opening and closing doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely got some shit going on in it.
It sounds like it.
The EVPs are pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, I'll see if I can get some examples and then I'll put them in the show notes, or like if you're listening on YouTube, it'll definitely be down in all of the show notes. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking them up right now. So, I got it right here. Yes, I don't forget.
Yeah.
Oh, and also the Bergen House here. I don't know if you can see this, but they actually have cameras in all the rooms, and they run. This runs. I don't know if this. Oops. If this is
online? Is it live?
Running. Yeah, I think they have it running live. This one. This is from 2 years ago, but okay. I think they do have it running. I don't know how you get on it. They did at least have it running live. I don't know if they still do, but at one point they did. Yeah, because this was a live stream, the Haunted Bergen House live streams. So I don't know if they still do that.
That's crazy.
Gosh, but okay, so I'll find the one that actually has really good EVPs to send to you.
Okay.
But crazy.
That is crazy.
Even if so they have this weird ass. Now I collect clowns. They have this clown. Yeah. This is what I'm talking about. This is so stupid that people do.
I don't like clowns. Fuck that. Get that off my screen. Clown. I don't want to see it.
It was in their house. Haunted Bergen House, blue room. But this is how stupid. They're like asking if the clown is gay.
What?
Who
cares?
Whoever. Yeah, I don't know.
Is the clown straight?
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
It was the dumbest.
Is the clown pink?
It was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I didn't even watch the whole thing.
That's weird.
But anyway, I'll find the good one that has. Oh, so a news station actually went out. A local news station of theirs went. WKBW from Buffalo went there for I think they went out there twice at Halloween time. And I think they were skeptical. I don't think they planned on experiencing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they had the recorder, just a regular recorder.
Right.
And they were asking, like, they were over by the closet area and asking, like, who's here or whatever. And in the recorder, it said Michael. And so they play it back and she's like, it said Michael. And I think the cameraman's name was Michael.
Oh.
So it was naming people in the room.
The room. That's creepy.
Which is pretty crazy. But anyway.
Like I said, I don't think we caught it on the audio earlier, but like if anybody's watching on Patreon, we usually do put in the last several episodes, we've been putting the live version, the videotape version of our podcast on Patreon. But because the file size was so large, I've been having a little bit of difficulty putting it onto Patreon. So it's still going up. I just need a little bit more time, and I'm going to try and get that done before the end of the week. Was there anything else about that? Were you about to say? I'm sorry.
No, I wasn't. I was done.
You were done?
I get so excited about things that might actually be for real.
Really haunted? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to weed through all that, right?
Yeah, because, like they're always like, there's demons here. It's like, oh my gosh, stop it. It's not the movies. It's not like that.
Right. Like I said, growing up, I thought demons were going to be a much bigger problem in my life than they actually are.
Right. and I also don't like when Zach and this Rob guy and stuff like get possessed every single time they go into a house. Whoa.
That was your PJ. He's stretching and he just went, whoa.
I will say, I can understand it more with Rob if he's actually welcoming in and channeling something, which would be very irresponsible of him as a
medium
professional.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
You're putting yourself and people around you in, that's just irresponsible. Because it's just wrong. You wouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. So I just think that when people go into these houses and they tell them, like, do whatever you want to me, take my body, do this, that is not a smart thing to do.
Well, and not only that, but if you're like, as a professional and you're going into, maybe if you're going into a location that there's not a lot of people at anymore, that's something different. But when you're in a residential home and you're calling that shit in, that's a whole nother level of irresponsibility to me. Like,
right. Or a business.
You're adding another layer on top of the fucking shit that's already going on in that house.
Like when we went to my niece's work.
Right.
The point was, we wanted to see if something was there. In fact, something was there.
Right.
Which we did get some EVP and we did feel things. But I also made it clear to them, I'm not just going to stir shit up and then leave.
Right.
I'm going to clear this place out and leave it safe.
Right.
Because they were experiencing so much stuff that I'm not going to just leave it for them I'm going to take care of it. And I don't want to leave those souls, if there were in fact souls that, like the little boy that was there.
Right. By the way, have you talked to your niece since then? Are they still having experiences or?
I haven't heard anything that they are, so I'm going to assume.
We should do a follow-up with her as I'm finishing up the video from that.
I think she's back working there again.
Okay.
Yeah, because she hadn't been working there for a while.
Yeah. That was like the end of 2020 and I'm still like.
Whoa. Oh my gosh.
Can you hear me?
Now, yeah.
I just saw an orb behind you.
Did you?
Yeah. I'm going to have to play that back in a minute.
That's so rare.
That was weird. I could have sworn I saw something.
Yeah. You probably did. I'm surprised that, with the bright light that you didn't see more, but.
Right.
I'm surprised that you.
That was
what's
crazy.
Great is when my clients are like, there's this weird light. I'm like, that's not weird.
Yeah. If you guys haven't caught it yet, Carlene did do a read on Phillip from My Celluloid Heart podcast. He joined us on the last episode. So if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. It's pretty cool. I know it's a really long episode, but I think it's worth it. Like every time I go into it and I'm doing some, like for the video part or like the editing part, I'm like cracking up the whole time I'm watching it. So he is hilarious. Oh my God. Are you getting these giant flies in your house by any chance? No.
I'm not getting regular size flies.
They're big, giant.
They're horse flies.
Ooh.
They are gigantic.
Well, you have horse
And
property right next to you too.
oh,
Could
that's
be.
right, I do. But Connor and Leslie aren't getting them. And the other day I killed like 6 of them. And now I think there's another one in there. So yesterday I think was the first day I didn't see any.
Like industrial sized flypaper.
They're monster. I could strap one to each foot and go for a ride. I could put them on a backpack and let them like carry me through the house and we can fly around.
All right. Well, this is probably a good ending point. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, hit like, subscribe. If you guys are listening to us on iTunes or wherever you're listening to us, like whatever, you guys subscribe, like comment, whatever. Like.
Share with a friend.
Share with a friend. Yes, definitely, for sure.
Spread the word. Yeah, we want friends. We want to be popular.
Wait, on video. We want friends. Yeah. That was the best right there. You're like, we want friends with your little glasses. Like, we want friends.
Will you be my friend?
Will you be my friend?
Will you be my friend? Please.
Will you listen to our podcast? Please. Can you tell your friends?
Please.
Do you know any sugar daddies?
Oh my God, that's so loud. My son. My son is calling.
It scare you?
It's blasting in my ear.
Oh, oops.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
All right, my friend. I know you got shit to do.
Oh, yeah, I got to go to their house. He's letting me know that they're on their way. They might want to pick me up and drive over because it's such a long walk. All right.
All right, lady.
Well, thanks, everybody.
Thank you for listening. I'm Alma.
I'm Carlene.
Have a good night.
Bye.